So now we're going to find the length of the curve for sine x over the interval from 0 to pi. The first thing to do is find the derivative. Of course, the derivative is going to be cosine x. And then for the arc length, we need to integrate from 0 to pi. And then the formula is the square root of 1 plus the derivative gets squared. And then we're going to use the trapezoidal rule with n equals 10 to estimate this integral. So we have the interval going from 0 to pi, and I can find delta x. So just subtract pi minus 0 divided by 10. So of course that's pi over 10. And so the first interval will go from 0 to pi over 10, and then to 2 pi over 10, and 3 pi over 10, etc. Until eventually I get down here to 9 pi over 10. And then remember with the trapezoidal rule, all of these, when you substitute them into the function, it has to be 2 times the function. So in fact, I'm going to speed things up, and I'm going to have the calculator do this part for me using the sum sequence. So I'll do the sum of the sequence multiplied 2 times the square root of 1 plus cosine squared, and then tell it that x is the variable, start at pi over 10, go to 9 pi over 10, and then the delta x always goes last. So that will speed up the process so I don't have to type those in individually. So the calculator is going to find out these for us with the sum sequence, and then I'll just have to plug in the 0 and the pi myself and add that in and finish up the formula. So now over to the calculator. So go to second list, math, and there's the sum. Second list, ops, and there's the sequence. And then I need 2 times the square root of 1 plus cosine squared. And now tell it comma x is the variable, and then start at pi over 10, and then go to 9 pi over 10, and then in increments of pi over 10. Okay, so that's not the full answer. I still need to plug in a 0 and a pi. But let me just write down that this is, so far, a 21.4917. So this part equals 21.4917. And then I still need to plug in the pi and the 0, or the 0 and the pi, and then find out what that equals. Well, when you plug cosine, when you find out what cosine of 0 is, that's 1. So that means we would have the square root of 1 plus 1 squared for the first one. And when you plug in pi, that's going to be -1. But because you square the cosine, it's going to be 1 plus -1 squared. So both of those are going to be a square root of 2. Okay, so I just need to say I've got square root of 2 twice from the front and the back. So I've got 2 of those, plus that 21.417. And then in front of all that goes the delta x divided by 2, which actually is a pi over 20. And then to finish this up, go back to the calculator. So I can just say, take my last answer. Maybe I should just start from the pi over 20 that was at the beginning. So there's pi over 20. And then there's 2 square roots of 2 plus the 21.491707. I don't usually use that many decimals, but that's okay. And it says 3.820198. So that is my estimate. $3.820198. And then I want to see how accurate that is. So I'm going to go back and graph this and have the calculator find the integral and see how close we are. So now I'll go back to the graphing calculator, put y equals, oh, somebody was nice enough to type it in for me. There's the function. And then just go to the graph. And you can see I was practicing before you got here because I actually already integrated it. But on this one, I just go to calculate and ask it to integrate from 0 to pi. And then enter. And it says the integral is 3.80198, just by where that little arrow is pointing down. So that's the exact same thing that we got. So that seems like we're done with this one.